Hi Sparsh, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, so whole day I was into the training into AWS cloud security
Oh, that's good.
to Capgemini. Full day tomorrow also. But yes, we'll start our scenario based discussion after this migration and everything. Okay. So if I remember, I asked one question, scenario based question to you, right?
Yep.
What is the answer, ma'am?
I don't know. I even I had a call in the morning. I was trying to search in the morning for that answer.
And that will not you get in the Google. That's a real time scenario, actually.
Okay.
Mhm. So actually, suppose you have within the same project you have EC2 instances, and you are not able
Yeah.
to communicate. You are not able to ping. So what are the things you are going to check? You are going to check like they are lying in the same security group, right?
Yep.
Security group we have, right? We have NACL is there, and the BPC also you're going to verify. The BPC should be the same, right? So whenever you create any your account in AWS in a project, so it is by default going to create your default BPC. You can create your custom BPC, CIDR. What is CIDR?
I don't know, sir.
Class. Just make a note of it. It might be question of interview.
Yeah,
Classless.
classless.
Uh, classless internet dynamic routing.
Okay. Inter
Internet dynamic routing. Yeah,
dynamic
routing.
routing. I tried
Okay.
the migration document, the
Mhm.
array and everything, but it is very complicated.
So I would make simple. Okay, I will not see the templates. Don't focus on that actually.
It's a
uh,
very long document and they have divided into five sections,
yeah, don't see
is
there. I
then
will
mobilize,
complete
then
within 10
target.
minutes. Don't worry about that. Okay.
Okay.
So okay, so coming to the troubleshooting the scenario. Okay.
Yep.
uh, your step first thing you are going to check BPC or those EC2 instances in the same BPC, the first thing. Okay.
Yep.
And if they are into different BPC, so what you will do? You will do BPC peering as a troubleshooting. Okay, you are
Yep.
going to enable BPC peering between those to make communication. Okay, suppose another scenario is there. Both EC2 instances lying in the same BPC, same security group, is still on same subnet actually, and you are not able to ping. And those are Windows servers, 2019, 2016, any server version of server you want to take, you can take it actually. So your troubleshooting, the first troubleshooting will be you have to disable Windows firewall. That's
Oh,
a real time scenario. Okay. And that is the
okay.
solution.
Okay.
Okay. Was also what happened. We were migrating a few instances from on prem to AWS cloud. And the issue was like there was some issue like communication. So when we switch off, turned off this Windows firewall, communication started.
Oh,
Okay.
but if we turn off the firewall, are we not putting our environment in danger?
See, you have already BPC, you have already security group, you have NACL, you have
Oh, okay.
on top of it, you have already AWS firewall. We don't need Windows firewall. That is
Oh,
OS
okay.
based, right? That is not secure. Okay.
Okay.
So that is one liner troubleshooting. You are going to check everything if different BPC will be there. So you are going to enable BPC peering. You might be knowing that.
No, sir. But I know.
BPC, yeah, make a note of it. BPC peering whenever two BPC need to be communicated.
Yes. So I wrote
Okay.
it. So check they
Okay.
are in the same security group or BPC. The second thing
Hmm?
you do is if they are in different BPC, you are going to do BPC pairing.
Yes.
And if they are in the same BPC, then
Hmm.
disable the firewall.
That's right. And communication will be started. That's a tested
Right.
solution actually.
Yep.
Easily you are not
That's
going
right.
to get on Google actually. That's a real time scenario. Because this is
Yep.
very small thing actually.
Yep. And I understand. They're the things that actually they're gonna ask me, and I'm gonna use
Right.
one of
Yeah.
them.
Okay. So now coming to migration.
Yep.
Let me. I'm not going to check the documentation. I will uh, give you some shortcut of the migration part. Okay.
Okay.
I think that will give you clear cut picture. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So screen, and here's my. Okay. AWS migration. Don't confuse with the terminology what they use, because they are using PAM, TAM, SAM. A lot of tools are there actually. That is not easy to remember.
MRAs.
Yeah, MRA, PMRA, SMRA, TMRA, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don't focus on that. Let's try to understand. Whenever you are migrating from on-prem, suppose you have Windows workloads, Linux workloads lying in your on-premise infrastructure, what will be your strategy, and how as a pre-sales architect, or pre-sales salesperson, what will be your understanding, and how you are going to sell your product to the customer or to the end project? So you have to tell what is your strategy model to migrate your workloads in AWS cloud. So first thing is easy to remember. Let me use thinner one. Uh, this one. So assessment. Assessment of what?
Of their resources, like what they want
Of
to get done, their environment.
no, their on-premise. Yeah, right. Their
Yeah.
environment. Correct. On-prem. Okay. You will be
Yeah.
doing assessment, and then you are going to run discovery. Okay. So there are 2-3 steps. It's easy to remember. In discovery, you are going to run infra discovery and app discovery. Two things. Okay.
Okay.
First one is infrastructure discovery. Second one is app
App
discovery,
discovery.
application discovery, kind of, right? In short.
Yeah.
So after that, you are going to create move groups. Move groups. So move group is nothing. It's a complete dependency matrix. Means, you know how the application works, right? So you
Yeah.
have web tier, app tier, and you have DB tier, right?
DVD. Yeah.
In that way, right? So
Yeah.
try to relate those things. So in the move group, you are going to get the dependency matrix. Means, okay, these are the DB servers, these are the application servers, these are the web servers, and those are belongs to X application, Y application. Getting my point? So those
Yep.
will be called as a move group. Okay. So why
Yep.
we are making move group? After get infrastructure discovery and application discovery, the move group will decide how you are going to do the POC,
Yeah.
proof of concept. Okay.
So in move group, you're going to get dependency of each application, right?
Right. You're going to get first you're going to get the list of applications, the database servers, Windows servers, Linux servers, what is the version of the server, everything you are going to get into it. From the infrastructure discovery. From the application discovery, you are going to get application details with server mapping. Getting my point?
Yep. Yep.
So there will be some manual work also, or you can also use AWS tool, right, to make the mapping into the tool actually. Okay.
Okay.
So after doing POC, you are going to
Your
do okay,
POC was
proof of concept.
proof of concept.
Yes. So generally, pre-sales team take care of these things. That's why I'm
Yes, sir.
highlighting you.
These are the terms I will remember. So proof
Proof
of
of
what
concept.
that in that you'll have all the detail about all your infrastructure, servers, and your
Yes.
apps and everything, the names that need to be moved and what direction they're going to be moved. You know,
Right. Yeah.
this app or web, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So now what you are going to do actually, you are going to do the POC for your at least 4 to 5 critical applications.
Okay.
Okay, you did the POC, your POC is successful. You are going to, showcase your customer. Okay, POC successful. Your architect team, like they will be doing all those things, right? Down the line, but you have to also, involve, your engagement will be there, right? RFP, remember RFP, HLD,
Yes,
LLD,
request for
right?
proposal.
Yes.
Actually, high level
So,
design, LHT is low level design.
low level design. Yeah.
Yep.
So POC done. Now we are going to talk about Rlane strategies. These are big words actually, but don't worry, very simple. Rlane strategies. I'm not right down, might be spelling wrong. Okay, strategies.
It's
Okay,
okay.
so Rlane strategies we are going to talk about. There are 7 Rlane strategies. That is important. What are those? Rehost.
Rehost. Relocate is one of them.
Yes, refactor,
If I reset
re relocate,
service,
yeah,
relocate. I
rehost,
read something.
refactor, and lift and shift also. They've been called in by different name. What are the others?
Give me 1 second. I have the document open in the back.
Relocate, refactor, rehost, uh, relocate, retire.
I think retire is one among.
Retire is one of it. What else?
Um,
Retire, rehost, refactor, relocate, retire.
it's on a
Mm,
green screen. I remember. I was reading it last night.
retain. What else?
Oh yeah, I found out. So it
Mm-hmm.
um rehost, replatform, repurchase, refactor, retire, retain, and relocate.
Repurchase and re.
And
Uh, last one. Tell me the last one. Repurchase and what?
relocate. So it's
Relocate done.
rehost,
Uh-huh.
replatform,
Uh-huh.
repurchase,
Okay.
refactor, retire, retain, and relocate.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So because it's not easy to remember all those 7
Yeah, yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Earlier it was like 6. Now they added one relocation one. Okay. This is the new
Mm,
one. Earlier it was not there.
yep.
Okay. So what are these actually? Any understanding you have?
This is basically, I think, the 7 steps. First, you find out,
Mm-hmm.
that basically when you are gonna do the migration, these are the 7 things you are gonna take care of. So first, you have to resource them on the other side, then
No,
provide
no,
them
no,
the
no,
right
no,
platform or
no,
something.
no, 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 no. Actually, these are the R-lane strategies. So there are 7 R-lane strategies you have to follow. Suppose there is a Windows server and the server version is Windows Server 2003. What you will do?
Uh, Once again, sir, I was just writing down, so I think I missed it.
Suppose Windows Server 2003. What will you do? Retire or
Retire.
decom. Remember in
Yeah,
VMware,
yeah, yeah.
decommission.
Yes, yes.
De
Because we don't
decom.
have patches for them anymore.
Yes, so Microsoft has already announced end of life, not required.
Yeah.
Okay, so brand new, you are going to create brand new servers or brand new EC2 instance. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so this retire will come. Take another example. So suppose lift and shift. Suppose you want to lift the. Suppose you have VM server, okay, and
Yep.
you want to lift and shift, means you want to completely migrate the server from your from your VMware environment to your AWS EC2 instances. You are going to migrate it, rehost, lift and shift. That is called
Rehost
lift
is lift and shift.
lift and shift. Yeah.
That is moving from one environment to another, right?
Right. Okay. Refactor. Suppose you are using Windows Server 2016, but your application is not supporting in 16. You have to go to 2019. What you can do? Go just just refactor means
Replatform.
yeah, replatform it on Server 2019. Retain means suppose you have some database servers and customer is asking, hey, Mr. Presale, okay, or Mrs. Presale, don't migrate those servers or those workloads. Those are my database servers. I want to retain it. Means those should be part of on-premise.
Okay.
Okay. Another option you have like repurchase. Means suppose remember we talked about monolithic and microservices a lot yesterday, or I think we discussed or not.
About what?
Monolithic and microservices.
Yes, sir, we did.
All right. So suppose you want to move to microservices. So you don't want to your monolithic servers and everything, right? You just decommission there and go there and purchase your Kubernetes clustering, the container services in EKS, right? There is a elastic container services.
Elastic, yeah.
Yeah, elastic. Everywhere you have to use in AWS elastic E, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. And relocate is also you have lift shift, refactor, rehost. So all those things you have to follow when you are migrating your environment.
So what is
So
refactor?
so refactor is kind of, suppose uh, you are using Windows Server, okay, but now you need some, some twist in your operating system itself, Linux one, or or your Ubuntu, CentOS, or else take another example. Suppose you are using your application in .NET framework, okay, but
Yep.
now your application is not, you cannot upgrade the application. Now you want to move to Java, JDK, or Python, or some other languages. So you want to refactor your workloads. Getting my point?
Okay.
So all
So it is
all those.
either change of OS or some other language if it is
Yes, right.
in development case.
So this is like, in short, the migration strategy. Don't be upset with reading all those. Those are required for the architect level, actually, in detail. This is fair
Okay.
enough for you. Okay.
And re-platform was basically moving. What was the re-platform?
So re-platform, like you are changing, you are changing the platform itself. Like suppose you were using earlier as a IaaS, right, as a hosted services. Now you're going to PaaS or SaaS services, kind of,
Oh, moving from one.
yeah, one IaaS to PaaS, SaaS, something like that. Yeah. Is it some understanding now?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. What else
Yes,
we
sir.
decided to discuss today? Scenario only,
So
or other things also?
elastic containers, all the containers.
Containers. Okay. So because that is part of your, this thing.
This is all in migration. That's it.
That's it. Done.
So,
Okay.
so migration, this is what
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do. First, you have an assessment and
Mm-hmm.
you see what is on their on premises, and then you run a discovery and you do infrastructure discovery and app discovery. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to create the move group into whatever you want to move, database, web, and app,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Wherever those things have to go. In move group, you're going to get dependency of each app, list of everything in infrastructure and app. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में आपको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की डिटेल्स मिल जाएंगी, ऐप में आपको ऐप की डिटेल्स मिल जाएंगी.
English, English, please.
Yeah,
Thank
I mean,
you.
like in infrastructure, you're gonna get details about all the infrastructure, have their servers, their EC2 instances, and whatever. If not EC2, VMware instances, whatever, if they want to convert to EC2 instances.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Discovery, they're gonna get all their Docker profile, all the applications that they have been hosting, and how are they hosting and everything. And
Right.
as proof of concept, say it says all these information inside it, right?
No, it is kind of migration testing. If you are migrating the server from on-prem to your AWS, it's working as expected or not. That is called POC, proof of concept.
So
Okay.
it is once again, sir, when you're doing a migration, so you do a testing and you are gonna tell if this is possible or not.
Yes. Suppose you migrated one application, right?
Yeah.
Considering the move group, and that application is not working as expected. That means migration failed. Getting my point?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's called POC. Yeah. Test, proof of concept.
Yep. And then comes the Rlane strategies. There was, sir, some other strategy too, where it says like assessment, and then it says mobilize, then it says option optimize or something like that. There was like seven.
No. Don't go there actually. Okay. Just understand this thing. This is very simple. For
Oh, okay.
pre-sales, I think that is for the solution architect actually, not for you. Okay. Don't go into
Oh,
detail. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So keep in, in short and scripting. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I think that is fair enough, and it is, yeah, fine. Okay.
And relocators, if you want to move from one edge location to another edge location for so that
Right.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
compromised, right?
Yes, in edge location, and also you are just
Region.
regions and also all those things. Yeah, and
Yeah.
on premise also you can include. Yeah. Okay. So let's discuss our container thing. Okay, quickly.
Yeah.
Mm, so suppose you have your operating system
Yeah.
Ubuntu. Okay,
Yeah.
Ubuntu, and on top of it you have Docker image,
Yeah.
right? And now you have multiple
Apps.
containers on top of it,
Yep. Multiple.
and by using Kubernetes.
Okay.
Kubernetes clustering. So Kubernetes you can use as a like kind of software as a service, and also you can use as a platform as a service. But it's always recommended go for software as a service because you need not to worry about the cluster and all those things, right? So how the Kubernetes work actually? So what is happening in container services? Try to understand. In VMware, what was happening? It was virtualizing your hardware,
Yeah.
but here it is virtualizing the operating system. That's the difference.
So this
Okay.
cluster was in
No,
VM.
no, don't go cluster. Cluster we'll discuss now. Just focus on this first. Okay.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
what is what was in VMware? What was virtualizing the application? Can you repeat?
Application virtualization, hardware virtualization, right? Storage
Yep.
virtualization, network virtualization, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
In AWS,
but
we are virtualizing the OS.
yes, in container we are virtualizing the OS, right?
Okay.
Okay, now try to understand the Kubernetes concept, how the Kubernetes works. If it will be more technical, tell me, I will stop there. Okay, a
Okay.
little bit complicated. Okay,
Hmm.
so you have master, and another one is you have like worker node actually. So little bit technical, but try to understand in simple language. Worker node. Okay, so master is like going to, you understand the word orchestration, right?
Yep.
What is the meaning of orchestration?
It's like you make something uh,
Automation.
yeah, automation you could say.
Yes, as simple as it's kindly just simple automation, right? So
Mm.
master, in master we have scheduler, right?
Yep.
Scheduler, we have our API calling, I'm sorry, and we have etc like configuration details, right? And scheduler, we have API, etc. Everything will be lying on master. Okay, the
Okay.
worker node will be your part of your cluster. Okay, the cluster automation will be done by the master, but master will not involve into your clustering of Kubernetes clustering. Like if you remember VMware, there is a different concept, but here it's a totally different. Okay, so
Yep.
worker node, suppose node 1, node 2, right? And node
Yeah.
3 kind of concept you have. By the combination node 1 node 2, you are going to create your cluster, right? Your Kubernetes cluster. Within the cluster you are going to create your pod. We call it as a pod actually concept. It becoming more complicated for you.
No, sir, I'm getting it. So pod is what when you're combining two and one and two, you get
One node or two node, yeah.
yeah.
It's so within the cluster you are going to define your pod, and on the pod your C1 like your container will be deployed within the pod. Okay,
Oh, okay.
C1, C2, and CT kind of three, kind of, you know. So actually, master is only playing role of automation, orchestration. All the request, all the communication, the gateway will be your master. But clustering, the Kubernetes clustering will be taking care of all your container deployment and also the your microservices deployment by using Terraform. You must heard about the Terraform.
Oh,
Okay, Terraform is kind of IAC, infrastructure as a code. Okay, so I will not go into detail because as a pre-sales, I don't think they will go beyond that. Getting my point?
what is this infrastructure as a course?
Code as a code,
Okay.
COD as a code, right? So the EKS, Elastic Container Services, you are going to get and you host your container service, your containers, deploy your containers, and manage your applications by using Terraform for the infrastructure. And for your application deployment, you can use your, Ansible, Jenkins, and all those CI/CD pipeline tools to deploy your application. Okay.
Okay.
So kind of, the containers, the benefit of the question might be, what is the benefit of the container actually? So when containers are good for your microservices application, like Amazon app or your e-commerce applications, kind of,
Yeah.
because it is like if you are going to update anything, it is not going to impact on any module and it will be up and running all the time. Okay. Let me show
Okay.
you something within the AWS Cloud Console that will give you some. Now I have also access. Okay,
Okay.
because today I was giving training, right? So that's why
Yeah.
I have also access. Let me show you the container. You have container services, right? EKS.
Yeah.
So see, you need not to confuse with the services. So there is also one service, Red Hat OpenShift, that is also providing containers. So
Yeah.
actually earlier there were only one vendor, Kubernetes was there, right?
Yeah.
And this Elastic Container Service is their native solution of container services, but that is not, that is not that kind of a scalable as you are going to get Elastic Kubernetes, say the most trusted way to run Kubernetes. Can I read that line?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of AWS and also other clouds are providing this container services, but you have to rely on this. And another is came as like Red Hat OpenShift, but this is also, kind of, you cannot compare with Kubernetes, but yes, they are also providing because generally in Kubernetes you're going to get Linux workloads actually, Linux or Linux workloads, right? Ubuntu, CentOS. So it's recommended you can also go for Red Hat Shift. So let's focus on this one. I don't think they will ask you this AWS container services. They will not ask because that is not that popular actually. So this is C, kind of complete software as service. You can see here.
Yeah. So
I'm
you
not
don't have
going.
to take care of the cluster and everything. You just
Right. Yeah. You go
application
and just manage your
applications.
containers, containers, and you play around with the containers and your manage deploy your microservices. Right.
Yep.
So you can see here you have like many. See the microservice. This is most recommended. For microservices especially. Okay. There are other
Services was
things.
exactly if you
Mm-hmm,
basically when you wanna bring in a lot many applications together, something, right?
mm-hmm.
And there everything gets updated. Was it something to do with Cognito and something closer to Cognito?
No, Cognito is little bit different. If you remember, right? Cognito was like if AWS
Oh,
Cognito was something
microservices using
profile
as an
management.
app,
Huh?
using something as an app.
Cognito.
No, no, microservices.
Microservices, if you remember, I've given example, the Amazon app actually, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
e-commerce.
Yep,
So
yep,
the
yep.
application which is like really highly available and you don't, because if you are going to use the EC2 instances, your application will be not that robust actually. That's why people are, companies are going to start, they started using the container services, the Kubernetes clustering actually, the control plane. Okay, I'm not going to
Okay.
create cluster because it is very chargeable. Okay, the pricing
Yeah.
model is very high. Okay, so I'm not going to create it, else it will be deducting my, this free subscription only. Okay, you also
Oh,
take
okay,
care of
okay.
this. Okay,
Yes.
so use it smartly. Okay,
Yep.
so okay, this is another piece we covered. Okay, let's stop it here. What else? Any question?
Storage S3 buckets. A little
Mm-hmm.
about the S3 buckets.
Mm,
And what else do we have in Linux in here? Do we
mm-hmm.
have anything in Linux? So we know thick and thin provisioning. Thick
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
fat is basically Windows OS, and thin is the Linux one because they're lightweight and they're made in Unix language, so they're lightweight. And those are
Right.
right. And
Right.
let me search.
Now I can share my screen. Right. Okay. So I have also access. Let's go one by one. So in compute, anything is remaining there? No. Nothing in compute.
No.
EC2. What else? Nothing.
Uh, no, I don't
Let's
think there is anything else remaining in ECU2.
okay. Let's move into the storage part. Right.
Yeah,
S3. Go into sequence. Right. It else it will be hodgepodge.
yeah.
Okay. So this is your S3 bucket, right? So you can create bucket inside it. You can name it,
Okay.
okay? And also you can enable the versioning also, bucket versioning.
What is this bucket versioning?
Bucket versioning means suppose you uploaded some documents or some pictures. Okay, now
Yeah.
you have some more pictures in the same kind of timeline or same tag. You want to another version of the same folder, kind of add on pictures there or add on data is there, kind of, so you
Yeah.
can in that will enable your versioning concept there, so all those things will be there. And
तो अगर
tag is mhm,
अगर मेरे को इनेबल इसका मतलब है कि अगर मेरे पास कोई पिक्चर्स हैं जो मैंने आज
mhm,
एक डाल दी और फिर
mhm.
से जो उसके अंदर बकेट में डालना चाह रही हूँ देन आई विल अपडेट द बकेट वर्जनिंग राइट
Right. So actually, in picture example, that will not fit. A picture वाले example पे आएगा नहीं actually.
no
Uh,
I would just say that if I
mhm.
put in data like some data that I one time like move your move from on premises to this we have storage data I put it here but I would still
Just read it. Read it once. Read it once quickly.
versioning is a means of keeping multiple variants of an object in the same bucket. You can use versioning to preserve, retrieve, and restore every version of every object stored in the Amazon S3 bucket. With versioning, you can easily recover from both unintended user actions and application failures. Oh, okay. So
Okay.
if there is any app or something that we installed and it was on a previous version and now we have moved
Yes.
to a
Yes.
newer
So
version, it will
yeah.
still be able to retrieve the
Mhm. You heard
previous
about
version.
GitHub?
Once again, sir?
GitHub.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So GitHub is kind of same repository. You're going to get versioning from there. And another is like tagging. You can add
Okay.
tags. Tags means just for suppose you are creating any S3 bucket, so you can mention, okay, I have to take backup of this S3 bucket. Tag is up to you how you want to
Yeah,
define.
yeah,
So for us, not important, but in production and development test environment, it is very critical, the tag part. Okay.
yeah.
And encryption. What is this encryption? SSL encryption, actually. You want to create.
Okay.
That's a security. If you remember, we talk about data in transit and data in rest.
In rest. Yes.
Remember? So that
Yes,
that's
sir.
that's thing we are going to do. Even our S3 bucket inside our in rest. This is in rest, right? The AWS
Yeah.
cloud. And we are making sure that it is going to use encryption.
Encryption.
Okay. So we have two options. We can use Amazon S3 encryption and we have KMS also. Okay. It's up to
KMS
you
is
what.
Kubernetes.
No, KMS is key management
Key
system.
management service. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Kubernetes is
Sorry.
like EKS. There's a
Oh,
lot
that's
of
in case.
short form. You have to
Oh,
remember all those things, right? So
yeah.
just create bucket. After creating, I will delete also immediately. Okay.
Oh, okay.
They charge. They start charging. Okay. So what I will do here in this bucket, I'm going to upload some document. Okay. Just upload is there.
Oh, okay.
I already created. And if you remember, go to the properties. There is ARN number will be there. Amazon
Yep.
resource name. not
Name.
number, is a name actually, sorry.
Yeah.
So you're going to get here, this is unique, like SSID in Active
Yeah.
Directory, if you remember.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Reference name we used
So
to call it.
yes, so that's the kind of ARN reference, this Amazon resource name. So ARN number will be differentiator actually. The permission, everything is there. We need not
Yeah.
to worry about it. Let's upload something here. Okay, just to test. Go and upload it. So I will upload some hanky panky data here only, right? And fold files. Yeah? Let me list multiple questions security. Okay. So this is kind of single, this Word document I uploaded, and now this will be lying in our uh, S3 bucket. Okay, and just upload it. I think it will not take more than seconds. It's done because it's MB data. Now it's done, right? So what you can see here, it's now lying here. You go here. This is your S3 bucket. Open it and see your document is lying here, right?
Yep.
You can provide the permission access level for this. Suppose, because the beauty of the S3 bucket is like it is also accessible outside AWS also. You can access from the internet also. Getting my point? But
Yes.
there will be all SSL, TLS security will be in place,
In place, encrypted.
encrypted. So that is the beauty of S3 bucket. Okay.
So
And
you are gonna provide permissions that if a certain user or someone could access that kind of permissions.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
You can play around to provide the access on your this thing, and the management also, the life cycle, right? Because we created the versioning, remember the
Yep. Yep.
versioning concept. We can also create the life cycle. You want to retire this bucket, or you want to keep the bucket. And there is another along with this S3, there is a glacier. Glacier is mentioned in your this thing or not?
No, sir.
Glacier is not there. So just remember, Glacier is nothing. That is kind of archival data. What
Okay.
is archival data? Means it is not important, it's not critical, and you want to move it to Glacier. I will show you here only. Let me delete this. I don't want this. You have to keep bucket empty. They start charging actually. Getting my point? So you have to type there. Are you sure you are going to delete actually? Update. Yeah. So it will be done. Let's exit from here. Here you can see within these services, you have S3 Glacier.
Okay.
So what is use of S3 Glacier? Same like archival data.
Oh, okay.
So you are going to create a vault. So suppose you are paying $2 per MB or per GB per gigabyte into S3 bucket. Here you have to pay only point cent actually, kind of very cheap actually. Pricing will be there in a Glacier. So companies move their data down the line after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months into the Glacier, S3 Glacier, which is cheaper in
Okay.
price. Okay. So
Yep.
that is like S3 bucket and S3 Glacier. You can explain it to your, if anything will be asked there, right? What else?
And storage gateway.
EFS is also there, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is EFS? Elastic file system. Yeah. So everything is like
Elastic
Elastic they
files.
have. Yeah. So just read this one.
Oh, this is basically like before we used to have a file server and
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah,
same
the
thing.
same actually. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
So you're going to create file server, file system, and you play around. You can take backup of that. AWS backup we have. You can transfer the data from your AWS cloud to your on-premise and vice versa. Both is possible.
So
Okay.
whenever we are doing a migration, so the first thing we do is this, right? We just
Yes.
move, take the backup.
Yes, backup. Yeah, before migrating, we should take backup as a kind of high availability of the data. Yes.
Yeah, so we are going to take the AWS backup.
AWS backup. So if you remember your VMware days, There were you're using Veeam, they were using Net
Veeam
Backup, yeah, all
and
those stuff,
Datto.
yeah. So
So,
that was, yeah. Mhm.
so if you're moving from a VMware environment to a cloud environment like AWS environment, right? So,
Mhm.
will we able to take the Veeam, basically the VMs backup in AWS or not?
Yes, we can take it. Yes, actually,
Oh,
there is partnership between the VMware and AWS. So
VMware
like,
and we have it
yes,
in marketplace.
yes, of course. Let me check that. That's a good one because you're interested because you already worked on those Veeam and all those things, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure this will be there because Veeam is very popular actually, and it is
So no,
supporting.
I'm just talking about sir, like a migration, right? If you get a migration, you're moving from
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can
VM.
do that,
So the
right?
first thing you have to do is you have to take a backup.
Yes.
Then
So
you
I
can do anything. First
right, yeah,
gotta
yeah.
make sure you got the
Veeam double E, right? Mm, mm,
yeah, double EM.
mm. So let's see.
Testing your
Yeah,
setup by
it's there.
using Beam backup and replication.
Yeah.
AWS gateway.
So it's Beam is very popular, and everyone is using like Azure also, GCP also. It's like very popular. Yeah. Okay. So that's another thing. What else in S3? FSX is there or not?
FSX is not there, but just still let me know. Give me an
There's a
idea.
file system, only Windows file system actually. Here in
Oh, okay.
EFS, you can manage Linux one, and in FSX only your Microsoft workloads. Okay.
Microsoft one.
Storage gateway, that is very important.
People like to use more of Linux ones, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So CloudWord, 70% workloads will be the Linux one, Ubuntu, CentOS. Yes, you're right. Windows will be only 10 to 20% or 15%. Yes.
Yeah, but so why are they planning to use Linux? Just because it is thin and it is
Because they were not knowing that, right? Spush don't know, don't hands on the black screen. So actually,
yeah.
that is required nowadays because a lot of the container services also we discussed, right? So
Yeah.
those are only this cloud friendly and the container friendly, the Linux world. Windows is not that friendly for containers. So those are
Oh, okay.
there are some restriction and security also. Linux is much more secure than Windows. Okay.
Yeah, just like Apple made on Unix.
That's right. So why you're going for iPhone? Security, and also in India, show off is there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 12,
100,000
13.
phone.
Yes. If people are buying by investing 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh 15,000. Yes. And also, your Manu sir,
Yeah.
is also very, he
Yeah.
is also used to GST and all those things by making pricing lower side. Yes.
Yeah. Kind of.
Okay. So this the gateway is kind of, suppose your storage is lying in on-premise, okay, in a VMware,
Okay.
or into your Hyper-V, or into your Citrix Gen server, or physical data center, okay. So you can use this storage gateway to sync your data from.
Oh, from VM to this side. From
Yes, yes. So
AWS.
there will be
Oh, okay.
synchronization will be there, and you can also migrate your data, or you can keep your data in the on-premise, and there will be proper syncing. So like uh, Apple to Apple thing should be there, like 10 GB data, 10 GB on-premise, 10 GB your AWS cloud. Okay, the gateway is for
Yeah.
only hybrid kind of storage solution.
Sometimes who like you disaster recovery environment, if you want to make AWS your disaster recovery, so you can just sync the data.
That's right. But that
If you want to migrate, then you can just create the gateway to migrate and they
yes.
make a backups on AWS.
Right. AWS backup need not to discuss. It's very simple. Same
Yeah.
like Veeam backup. Okay. You already have so backup thing you can talk about. We can, okay. There might be question. What is difference between backup and a snapshot?
So backup snapshot is that you get a snapshot of exactly in the beginning. We always take a snapshot, making sure
Mm-hmm.
if something goes wrong in the future, we could always come back to the previous stage,
Mm-hmm.
our configuration or whatever. But
Okay.
backup is basically that taking the whole thing. You just took a backup. It's like queues.
Bo-
I, I think there was something like you explain it with 0 and 1 bit करके भी you can explain the concept and
mm-hmm.
snapshot तो
Mm-hmm.
सिर्फ यही है कि अगर कोई गलती हो रही है और लग रहा है कि हम this is something that's not going to work for us, you can just
Mm-hmm.
to the previous version and be like, okay, this is, let's go back, take the snapshot back and activate the snapshot.
Yes, absolutely right. You got it. So actually, snapshot like real-time backup,
Yeah.
instant backup, real-time backup, right? You are going to implement something in production, take a snapshot. Do you
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. If something went wrong, let's take
You
restore
can go
from the
back.
snap. Yes, you
Yeah.
can go
Just
back.
restore from the backup.
But backup process is like crazy. It's time taking. It's it's complicated actually. It's very
Yeah.
slow also.
And I
So
think there are
now,
three types of backup and all.
yeah, incremental. You have
Yeah.
differential backup, full backup, all those
Yes.
things, right? So
Yeah.
actually, that is very complicated because it is going to take hell of time of yours of your company, and it is not easy as you have a snapshot. So question might be from what is difference between AWS snapshot and AWS backup? So you can highlight both things.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next is RDS, right? What is a SQL database and NoSQL database? What is difference between SQL and NoSQL?
I don't know.
Hmm. What is a database?
Database is basically when you're hosting an application, you need a database where you could make all the, like, you
Mm-hmm.
all your data, who's logging in, how many times you log. And by chance, some people want to get reminded on their application that we have already logged in. Your email ID is already stored that you had already. So you have a database where everybody who logs in, whose credentials could be saved, or the
Mm-hmm.
data regarding an application could be saved, basically.
Right. So actually there are two kind of database. One is like RDS, relational database, like
Yeah.
SQL, Oracle, or Amazon Aurora. You can see this. This is a
Okay.
new database introduced by Amazon. So Aurora is very famous actually for SQL databases, relational databases, right? And if you want to go for NoSQL database, you have to go for MongoDB, where data schema, data modeling, and rows and columns come into the SQL databases, right? There will
Okay.
be column entry, rows will be there. There is a like structure, defined structure for the database. But when you are going to choose like MongoDB or other database which are like open source database, there is a no structure required, no schema is required. So that's why people are choosing nowadays NoSQL. But RDS, take it as like Aurora, like SQL or Oracle, simple as.
Okay.
So you are
So
getting
SQL,
RDS as
SQL.
a service here. Yeah, database as a
Okay, so you're using database as a surface.
service. No need to install any server. You just go use the databases, SQL string, Oracle string, connect it, play around with your database instances. That's simple.
Okay, so no SQL nobody uses. You are telling me that is less in demand now.
Lesser demand, yes, because in cloud world, because licensing is a, so there might be question from your panel, why people are not using Microsoft SQL or Oracle? Because licensing, the pricing model is very costly.
So you're telling me RDS is expensive. And like,
No, RDS is cheaper than SQL because it's like cloud one, and they are promoting in competition to SQL and Oracle. They want to get the market, of the database. So it's cheaper. Aurora is cheaper in compared to Oracle and SQL because my Oracle is coming from Oracle databases, right? And Microsoft has their own SQL database. Their pricing model is very costly actually. That's why people are not trying to use those actually. Getting my point? Not cost
okay.
effective. Same thing and
But
better than. Mhm.
but Oracle and SQL are relational database, just like,
Yes, same like ideas. Yes, correct. Aurora.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we use Aurora. One, you use it as a database as a service, so you don't have to worry about the pricing and everything that you had to do with SQL and also managing it,
Right. So you need to pay
licensing and
only
everything.
what, yeah, licensing model is not there. So it's a kind of 50% cost in compared to SQL or Oracle. So that's why people are
Yeah.
using. And also modern database in compared to SQL and Oracle. Okay. So
Okay.
all those things. So only I think RDS was part of it or any other database? No, I don't think so.
I'm yeah.
No.
Dynamic
Okay.
DB is what? Dynamic database is
DynamoDB is kind of NoSQL database I was talking about, right? That's kind of
okay, no
freeware,
SQL
open
database.
source, open source. Sorry, you need not to pay for pricing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like open source, no licensing
Okay.
cost.
So this Aurora comes under
RDS.
RDS, but dynamic DB ke andar what do we have?
The DynamoDB itself is own database, no SQL database.
Oh,
See,
okay.
no SQL database. Okay.
And then we had
So
Elastic Cache.
that is mentioned in your GD.
I think something Elastic was.
No,
But
that was ELB. Okay, leave it. Not as don't
okay.
focus on many things. You have to remember all those things. Keep in mind.
Yes.
It's your headache, not mine. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
take lesser. Okay. So coming to migration and transfers, right? So we already discussed about the transfer, the migration policies and how we are going to the assessment and everything. So here a lot of things like your suppose you have to migrate database, then you are going to use DMS, database migration services. You have to
Yeah.
migrate your application. You are going to discovery application discovery services, right? And you want to use your AWS migration hub for all the migration you are going to use. So that's why I didn't, told you all those things in that discussion to make you understand how the migration works in AWS. But these tools are required when you are going to do the migrations. Okay.
Okay.
And you can use third-party tools also. You must heard about VMC Remedy.
Yep.
So VMC Remedy is also providing a tool to do your infrastructure discovery, and that is
Okay.
agentless.
And here,
Okay.
what is used to do discovery? Which one of these?
So see, I you can go for this application discovery.
Oh,
This
yeah,
one,
yeah.
yeah,
Yep, yep.
application discovery. For infrastructure discovery, there will be some, the migration hub. There will be some tool, but I
So
will
this is
suggest,
AWS application migration something.
yeah, service actually. This is service. Okay, see the dependency inventory we talked about, right? Move group, remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So all those things it is going to do. And for server migration, you have server migration service. So those are AWS native services. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So let's any other thing? BPC, CloudFront. Okay, I will touch upon Route 53. It's easy and simple. It will not take more time. So DNS. What is the port for DNS?
Uh,
Google it.
I don't remember. I think
53.
53. Huh?
Yes. So this Route 53 is nothing. It's a DNS.
Oh, okay.
So you treat it as
System.
AWS DNS.
Oh, okay.
And you know the importance of the DNS thing because it's very
Yeah.
important, for all communication. So
Yep.
in Azure, it is called Azure DNS. In GCP, it is called Google DNS. Here they are calling Route 53 with different naming nomenclature. Like, uh, so they use the port and Route 53. Okay, DNS 53. So just to for selling funda, you will be part of free sales. So all those things you have to apply actually, right? That's naming the naming the product and selling it out,
Yeah.
right? So this will be used when you are making your hybrid environment, right? On-prem,
Okay.
you have Google Cloud, you have Azure Cloud. So all those things you have to register Azure DNS into your Route 53. Route 53 DNS you have to enter into Azure, into on-premise, and play around. Domain registration you want to do here, you can also do the domain registration, right? This is kind of DNS thing actually. Nothing, no rocket science actually.
So whenever you are bringing something, you will have to register that domain. So you
Yes.
here
Yeah. And
and
vice versa.
and vice versa.
Yes.
You have to register this domain on the other side as well. If you move
Right.
on-prem, then you just have to register the domain here. That's it.
Yes, that Route 53 and domain will be registered here, and you have to make sure that DNS is part of Route 53. Okay, you can apply the policy also. You can do the health monitoring checks and everything. Domain registry by default, that's a feature of DNS, right?
Okay. So and in DNS management, so what do we do here exactly? Add the DNS.
Okay, so let's talk about Microsoft DNS. Remember your
Yeah.
those DNS like
IP.
NS, no, AHOS records.
Yep.
So the A record,
A
N
record,
record,
C
S,
record.
yeah, yeah. So you
Okay.
will get here different kind of records. It will be not copy paste of Microsoft. They have their
Okay.
own records for branding, pre-sales
Yeah.
team, sales team, right? So in the same way, you can walk through with the Route 53. Route 53 is nothing. just your DNS services, not server, is a DNS. So
Servers.
in Windows, you remember we were going to get our DNS as a on server as a service. Here we are going to get DNS as a service. Okay.
Yep.
So let's stop it here because I'm really very tired today because whole day training I attend, given to the
Yeah,
batch
yeah,
of
sir.
members. So I will stop here, and what else? Rest will cover into our my morning, your evening, same
Okay.
time.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Thank you so much. And I will
Okay.
revise everything.
Sure. Take your time
Yeah.
and go through the try to learn the security thing also. I already shared with you. If you can check that. Okay.
Yep. I saw that in the morning. You shared it with.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Have a nice
sir.
day.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.